I'm talking about my older half sister that currently lives in China. She's older than me by 10 years. As I've mentioned in previous videos, my family story is quite insane. So, almost over 90% of my family for sure has all been divorced at least once. My mom, she has been divorced 6 times, and she filed for every single divorce. My older sister, so far, she's been divorced twice, and her third marriage isn't looking so good. And if you're wondering why I'm being so extreme, I'm saying that my sister needs to be locked up. I want to tell you guys some stats. Over 93% of the prison population is men. And the same is true worldwide. It doesn't matter which country you go to, because every time a man makes a bad decision, he has to face the consequences. But almost every single terrible decision a woman makes, she gets bailed out. For example, why is a nasty bitch like Amber Heard? Why is she still out on the streets? Why is she not locked up? If a woman makes a terrible decision, going bankrupt, losing her house, losing her apartment, whatever that she had, and she becomes homeless, there are homeless shelters for women, but there's none for men. And you want to talk about abuse and domestic violence? Well, guess what? I think the most common number you see in the West is something like 25% of all women will experience domestic violence. But ladies, if you believe in equality, why is it okay for you to hit your man? I've seen so many people do this. I've seen my sister do this. I've seen my mom do this. And it's not just in the West. I've seen so many Asian women that regularly hits their husband and hits their boyfriend. Why do you think that's okay? If you choose to attack your partner, let's say if you hit your man 25 times, and on the 26th time, he finally loses it, he cannot take it anymore, he hits you back, and you start screaming, listen, whose fault is it? It is absolutely not okay. It's not okay if a man hits you. If a man hits you, he goes to jail. If you hit your man, nothing happens. So during my sister's first marriage, and the guy she married, he was nothing spectacular, wasn't particularly tall, didn't make a lot of money, but he was a good guy. You're supposed to judge a man by the contents of his character. So back a while ago, when my mom, she had a successful sauna business, and she brought in everybody from the family to work for her and her husband at the time. And because the business was really booming at her peak, she was able to hire over 50 people, and many of these were friends and family. Her marriage was going great in her first few years when my sister's first husband, when he was hired by my mom and he was making good money. But the company, obviously, at some point, they ran into some difficulties. They had a major accident. And my mom was also going through a divorce in her sixth marriage. And it was during this time. And I have to bring back this quote by Chris Rock: women, children, and dogs, right? They'll always be loved unconditionally. Unconditionally. A man can only be loved given the condition that he provides something. So as soon as my mom's company ran into financial difficulties, and my sister, her first husband's income decreased, guess what? She went out and looked for another man. She had an affair with another guy that had a little bit of money, and she went and divorced him. And everything that he had in his possession was lost through the divorce. This is why I tell people the entire system, our society is rigged. The reason why, if you look at all the divorce statistics all around the world, in almost every single country, what you see happening is that the 90% of the divorces are filed by women. This is true all over the world. It's because women are guaranteed to benefit. They're almost guaranteed to get custody. They're almost guaranteed to get the man's to get the man's house, to get the man's car, to get his possessions, to get his belongings. All the pressure is on the man. When a woman files for divorce, she says, oh, she's not happy. Oh, and then she says, oh, I feel so good to be out of an abusive relationship. Well, at least half the time, you're the one that's being abusive, but nobody ever talks about the abuses that a guy has to go through. But a man's life is completely destroyed. Like I said, over 20 divorces in my family. All the women, all the Chinese women, they filed for every single one of them because they're guaranteed to benefit. Then you know how things goes, and my sister goes on to marry. This is her second marriage. This is the guy that she had an affair with. And obviously, what do you expect? You had an affair with this guy, and at the time he was married. And so this guy, my sister's second husband, he divorced his first wife and married my sister. But then she will find out very soon that guess what? He's been having an affair this whole time. And I keep bringing back this point to all the women saying that, oh, I want this. I want my man to make 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. I want my man to be 6 feet, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". He must be good looking, tall, dark, handsome, has an 8-pack, treat me nicely, respects his family. Ladies, all of you are sleeping around with a very small percentage of men. I mentioned this before. Look at Canada. People making 100,000, 11% of the population. People over 6 feet, 16% of the population. Multiply 16% by 11%, 1.8% of the population. You complain about the bad man being assholes, but you keep throwing yourselves at these top-tiered men. You never look at the average guy. Let me give you a fact. Okay, in Canada, over 60%. Hear that, right? Okay, over 60% of men between the ages of 18 to 30 are single. Yeah, you just keep choosing the bad man. You don't choose a man based on the contents of his character. You look at a man like it's your ATM machine. So then what happened? My sister finds out during her second marriage, and she had her daughter with her second husband, that this entire time he's been having affairs with a bunch of other women. My sister, once again, filed for divorce, and guess what? She gets a huge sum of money from it, and she's guaranteed to get alimony until her daughter is 18. Do you know what just happened? The vast majority of the alimony money, I can tell you this. This is from my own family. I would never make up lies. It never ever went to my niece. Okay, very small percentage, maybe 25, 30%. The vast majority of the alimony, my sister, she pissed it away, buying Gucci, Louis Vuitton, fancy perfumes, shoes, handbags, purses. This is the issue I keep talking about with feminism. This is why they want ladies. This is why they want you to be career boss. This is why society is pushing this. They want you to climb the corporate ladder. They want you to get your master's, your PhD, become doctors and lawyers. Because do you know this? Over 80% of the consumer spending is on women. This is why, despite the fact that my mom had a massively successful business for at least 4, 5, 6 years, and she hardly saved up any money, save with my sister who was working for my mom at the time. Because I realized something. It's ingrained into your DNA. When a man makes money, he thinks about saving money. He thinks about maybe growing my business. He thinks about finding a woman and starting a family. But every time a woman makes money, you start spending money like crazy. Ever go to the shopping mall? Do you see anything there that's designed for guys? No, it's all designed for women. And because of this consumer habit, over 80% of all debt is all generated by women as well. So this is why this is why America is so poor. You're the #1 country in the world by total GDP. Even by GDP per capita, USA is still #7 in the world. But why do you think the USA has so much poverty? Because the USA is completely living in the matriarchy, where the woman has 100% control of all the cash flow in the family. And I'm sorry, this is the fact. It's ingrained into your DNA. Many of you ladies, I've seen this happen so many times. I've seen it happen to my aunts, with my sister, with my cousins, with my mom. And once you get a little bit of money, you make terrible financial decisions. You decided to just piss it all away. You spend it on $2,000 handbags and $3,000 shoes and $4,000 perfumes. And because of my sister's spending habits, and obviously it doesn't matter how much money she gets from the divorce, the cash kept on running low. And you know what happened? She kept going back to her second ex-husband. Emails, phone calls, messages. She keeps saying, give me more money, give me more money, give me more money, alimony. And he reached a breaking point. He thought, you know what? I'm not going to be able to pay child support, so I need to figure something out. So he contacted his older brother, who is some kind of a big shot, and they decided to try some sketchy business, probably illegal. I don't know the details exactly, but in the end, whatever they tried did not work out. They ended up losing almost $4 million. Yes, 4 million Canadian dollars. In China, that is a huge sum of money, and he's got absolutely nothing left. And they took away all of his properties, his house, his car, and his bank account was frozen. His credit score went completely bankrupt. And you know what happened right after that? He went to the rooftop of a skyscraper. He jumped off. Yes, he jumped off. And how do you think that's going to impact my niece? The impact on her life. She's going to grow up without a father figure. Ladies, nothing good will ever come out of this. Nothing good has ever come out of feminism. And this is why I keep talking about it, right? Every time a woman makes a bad decision, society will do everything they can to hide it, to bail them out, to blame it on the patriarchy, to blame on the man. You have to hold these nasty women accountable. And do you know what happened right after my sister, her ex-husband, jumped off the rooftop? She talked to my mom. She said that, you know what? I'm running into difficulties with my cash flow. And my younger half brother, he lives in Canada. He's making Canadian dollar, right? So he's able to make more money than me. So now that I'm losing out on the child support, she put all the pressure on me. My mama, she gave me a call. She said that your sister is in dire need. So when you're successful in Canada, you have to send back money to your sister every single month. You have to help her out. This is why marriage rates are at an all-time low today. This is why families have never been more broken. This is why divorce rates are skyrocketing. This is why relationships are so weak. If you want to fix the current system, listen to me. Take feminism, shatter it into 1,000 pieces, and scatter it into the wind. It has to start there. This woke ideology, this didn't start in the West. I will keep on expanding on this topic as I continue this series. Woke ideology was 100% rooted in true communist China. You have to understand. That's why I'm making this series. You think situation is bad in the West? Let me tell you something. It is way worse in China. Way worse than anything you can imagine.